Hey there guys, BlackPanthaa here and welcome to a video quite a few people have probably been waiting for, Assetto Corsa on consoles. Yes, it is coming, as you may know, or if you don't know, well, you know now. It's coming to consoles, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. What about the Wii U? What's the Wii U? Anyway, in this video, I'm basically going to be giving you an overview of what I played at the event and what I was able to show you anyway. And in the gist, what is it? It's Assetto Corsa on consoles, and that's a good thing. It is literally, as you'd expect, Assetto Corsa on consoles, and it's not a half-assed job of them just porting it over and going, oh, I wonder if it works. They've actually done some pretty good stuff to make it work properly on the console, because as we know, there's many things in that Project Cars didn't do very well, for example, and other games on the market. This has done well, so I've got to say, well done. Now, before we get into it, this is a pre-alpha of the game. You'll notice some bugs in the gameplay itself that I'm about to show you. You may notice them. There weren't a lot of what I can really notice, but there were possibly some, and in some events that we weren't able to show you, there were also some bugs, which is why we weren't able to show you them, but I will do my best to talk about how those were in general. Now, as far as I'm aware, most of the time it ran at 60 frames a second. It was around the area most of the time, but I could tell, like, it wasn't always at 60, which, I mean, you can understand it's the consoles of pre-alpha, this kind of stuff, all this sort of malarkey you always hear, but at the end of it, it still looks pretty awesome when it does it. And I've noticed when actually racing AI in the game, no matter how many AI are on the screen, it seems to be just as consistent with the frame rate as it is when there's no AI. So I assume any frame drops that exist are basically to do with something else which may be fixed in the previous and the next future versions of the game. Probably one of the only complaints I could really think of was actually the force feedback. Now, it's not really a complaint because it felt freaking good. It handles as it should. You can adjust it to make it handle how you want. There's a lot of options that are off by default because it might be a little bit scary, and that's one thing they focused on. The game is obviously set to the bare minimum as it should be with, you know, a lot of other games, set to the bare minimum for settings, work out of the box, and if you want to adjust those settings to higher, it is possible to do so. You go to the settings yourself and change it. Like, you can adjust how understeer affects the force feedback and things like that. You know, there's a lot of tiny details that you can get into, which is awesome. But the main thing I wanted to say, talk about, I did bring down, because by default the force feedback's at 80 and the most is like 100, I am assuming, and I brought it down all the way to like 30, and it was still very, very aggressive. I'm assuming like further down it might get even weaker and even weaker, but to be honest, again, it was still pretty aggressive for going down from 80 to 30%. That's one thing. Like, it was very, very aggressive. You know how when you're in the crew and you go to 100, it was like that up at 30. So I think that needs adjusting a little bit. But the game has really good sounds, really good visuals. I can't knock it on any of those things. Again, it's not like the most amazing looking thing in the world. It's pre-alpha, and also the fact that it's, you know, it's a track-based game that's got a load of cars on screen. And, you know, it's basically a port from the PC version. You're not going to expect, like, a graphics increase from the, you know, the PC version to the console version. It's just not how it works. Does it look bad? No, it looks good. So that's all that matters. One thing I'm really glad that they did, though, is they took time to make a new UI, which is, well, very useful for a console version. Because as you know, with some games, if you port it over to PC to console, you use the keyboard and mouse on the PC. And yeah, it's a little bit different from when you're using a controller or a wheel or something like that. You need it to be intuitive, simple, and easy to understand for a lot of players, and they've done a very, very good job at that. You basically have like a main menu, and the settings are easy to access, and it's got setups before you get onto the race or pause the race, that sort of thing. Some of those things weren't available in this build, but they're going to be coming. So, I mean, it's just simple. They've made it so it works on console. It feels like it was a proper console experience, and I like, it doesn't feel like it's just, you know, slapped on the consoles like a lot of PC ports would be. But along with that, you're not losing all of the options like you would in a console version of the game. Normally, you have all the force feedback settings you can adjust, as I said, understeer, that sort of thing. All the tuning of the cars seems to be in the game still. On the pause menu, it has the tuning option for the cars like you can at, you know, the beginning of the races, that sort of thing. It has all the settings you'd imagine that you would want, but it's not overcomplicated. They haven't made it really annoying and hard to get to things and that sort of thing like other games have. It's just very simple, and at the same time, you can get very, very in-depth. Now, the AI are also very difficult. I did put it down to easy, I believe, on the difficulty at one point in one of the races, but the AI was still very, very aggressive and really just wanted to push you. Like, I really had to push to stay at the back of the pack. Like, that says a lot. So I'm assuming, again, this is because it's a pre-alpha version of the AI, that sort of thing. Like, you can tell this is a pre-alpha version of porting it over to the consoles and making it, like, mainstream, if that makes sense, because that's what console versions of games generally do. Makes it more mainstream. But I can tell you, like, from playing with the force feedback, playing with the AI, that sort of thing, it is still a kind of hardcore sim-ish experience, or sim-like experience. So don't worry if you're looking for that, it's still there. Now, as I said, the very difficult AI can be seen in a good light or bad light. Personally, I think the easy difficulty needs to be toned down. I'm not even sure that the AI difficulty felt like it made a massive difference as it currently did on the build that I played, or if the cars were outmatched, that sort of thing. But it did feel a little bit difficult, but again, pre-alpha. And the final thing I want to talk about is the variety of event types and multiplayer options in the game. So I can't tell, everything about the game that there is. All I can really talk about is the fact that there are a lot of event types in the game, just as there are in the PC version. As I said at the beginning of this little overview video, it is the PC game on consoles done right. They haven't slapped it on. They've tweaked it and made it feel as if it is a proper console experience, which is how it should have been on the game on the market. For the multiplayer options and the variety of events, I think it is one thing it will have over the competition that are already out at the moment on the consoles, closed track races. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes about and how it all works and how people use this type of stuff. But anyway, thank you ever so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments what you are thinking of this game. Is this something you're going to pick up? Is this something you're going to pick up a bit later, straight away, day one? Let me know how you feel. And if you've got any questions, I'll try my best to answer them down in the comments below because, I might not be allowed to say stuff and stuff. Anyway, subscribe if you are new for more racing game content. I've got some other content for Assetto Corsa coming very soon, a console version. So be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. And peace.